Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the NoDQ.com live recap of Monday Night Raw for December the 20th, 2021. We're almost at the end of the year. We got WWE Day 1 coming up, but for now, let's talk about Monday Night Raw. Shout out to everybody watching this, whether it's live or on demand. I appreciate your viewership and support. Raw started with a recap of last week. Typical stuff here. We had Bobby Lashley and MVP come into the ring for a promo. MVP talked about how Lashley beat 3 guys on last week's episode of Raw, which is true. And he said that it's time for people to acknowledge that they are in the almighty era. That's when the WWE Champion, Big E Langston, interrupted, and he said that Lashley has a lot of sisters. And then he said maybe Lashley doesn't have the plums since MVP had to interfere last week and help Lashley pick up the win. Lashley responded by saying that he would have won regardless. He did not need MVP's help. And he wondered if MVP could beat up Big E. Lashley left the ring. MVP was there, but then Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens attacked Lashley from behind. Big E made the save. Lashley and Big E cleared the ring together. And then backstage, Kevin Owens said that they needed to get rid of Bobby Lashley in time for the Day 1 pay-per-view. Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce were there, and holla, holla, holla. Adam Pearce said that this was going to be one of the most interesting tag team matches in the history of Raw. All right, so 20 minutes in, we already have Adam Pearce lying through his teeth, and we had a reference to Bobby Lashley's sisters. Why? I get you're trying to be funny, but do we really need to be reminded of that segment from a couple years ago? We had our first match of the evening. We had Bianca Belair versus Doudrop in the final chapter. I'll believe that when I see it. We all saw what happened with Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Anyways, match was good. Good match between these two. Bianca attempted the KOD, the kiss of death, right off the bat. Did not work out for her. And the match went back and forth for a while. Bianca jumped off the top. She got caught. She was power slammed. And Doudrop hit the cannonball. Bianca kicked out of that. Bianca hit a crossbody and then hit a standing moonsault, but Doudrop kicked out of that. And then Doudrop hit a power bomb. Went for the Vader bomb, but she missed. And then Bianca managed to hit the KOD on Doudrop. And this was something that the crowd actually popped for. They were kind of dead during this match. They were kind of dead for the entire show, but they did react to the KOD. They did pop for that, and Bianca won. Is this the end of the feud? I would be surprised if there are no more matches between these two within the next 6 months. I will be surprised if they do not wrestle again, at least until June of next year. We had Finn Balor versus Austin Theory in a one-on-one match. The fight went right to the outside of the ring. Austin Theory basically dominated the match. He was in control. He hit a neck breaker on the floor. He did this springboard Spanish fly-like maneuver. He was looking very impressive. And then he got a little bit too cocky, a little bit too arrogant. He grabbed his phone. He was going to take a selfie. And then Finn Balor made a big comeback, hit the coup de grace, and picked up the 1-2-3 victory. Yeah, match was fine. No issues with it. Although I still don't think that this whole storyline with Vince McMahon is doing Austin Theory any favors, but we'll get to that here in a few minutes. And the whole gimmick with the selfies, doing the whole Tyler Breeze thing, not really feeling it too much. We had Miz TV with special guests AJ Styles and Omos. Miz addressed Maurice last week, of course. Miz threw Maurice in front of him to protect himself from the spear by Edge, and Maurice slapped him, very upset with him. Miz this week said that he loves Maurice, and he asked her to not talk about their relationship on the cutting edge, which was going to happen later on in the show. AJ and Omos arrived. Omos threw out his chair. He did not want to sit down. Miz talked about how AJ and Omos have been out of sync, and AJ Styles said, kind of like Miz and Maurice. More talk about how AJ and Omos went off the rails. AJ said that it happens, but they are back on the same page. Soon they will take all of the championships. Miz responded to this by saying that he heard otherwise from Omos. And then AJ got upset. He called out Miz about Maurice. And then Miz had a bombshell, I guess, saying that according to Omos, Omos is sick and tired of carrying AJ Styles around. It took AJ 15 years to get to WWE, while Omos just walked right in. WWE begged Omos to sign a WWE contract. AJ said that Miz is full of BS, and then AJ asked Omos to speak. Omos was about to speak, and that's when the Mysterios arrived for their tag team match. We had our match. Pretty standard stuff here. Actually, it was just AJ in the ring the whole time. Rey Mysterio hit a 619, went for a big splash, but Styles got his knees up, and then Styles went over to tag Omos, and Omos turned away. So the Miz was right. Styles was rolled up, and the Mysterios got the victory. After the match, Styles went over to Omos, called him a piece of trash. Omos started to get in the ring. Styles took some shots at Omos. Then he went for the phenomenal forearm, but Omos caught him. He took Styles down. Crowd was booing, by the way, so was this AJ Styles turning face, or was this Omos turning face? Crowd was booing Omos. Omos got on the mic and said the next time Styles sees him, it will be in a match as opponents. So yes, AJ and Omos are no more, and it was announced next week in Detroit. I will not be there because I have no desire to go. AJ Styles one-on-one with Omos. The team is no more. Walter Cruz with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much for that, Walter. I appreciate it. He says, I'm glad about the breakup. I want AJ back to the title scene. The only stupid thing was Omos was right. Right there, he could have spoken for himself. Well, the Mysterios ruined that. And Walter also says that Omos needs a mouthpiece bad. He needs a Heyman-type manager or something like that. We had Austin Theory about to go into Vince McMahon's office, but he walked away without going inside. Then we had Randy Orton versus Chad Gable. Crowd liked Randy Orton. Crowd did not care about Chad Gable whatsoever. Match could have been really good. No Riddle, by the way. No Riddle on this entire show. Orton was by himself, and he beat Chad Gable. Pretty short match with an RKO. Gable took a nice bump for him with the RKO. And then after the match, Otis got in the ring, went after Orton. Orton tried on 3 occasions to hit the RKO on Otis, but was unsuccessful. And that was that. Yeah, kind of interesting. No Riddle on this show. But next week, The Mysterios will face Street Profits, and we'll find out who's going on to WWE Day 1, which is in fact on January 1st. Steve-O says, my DirecTV was out, so did not see it at all, but doesn't sound like I missed much. Yeah, you really didn't. Darren G says, letter grade up for me. I do not care about Riddle. Ouch. Poor Riddle. We had a segment of the 24/7 type with Reggie and Dana Brooke. They were in some room with a bunch of Christmas trees that were all lit up and shining. And you had R-Truth and Tozawa trying to do some antics. And then Tamina attempted to win the title from Dana Brooke. She was unsuccessful. Dana Brooke escaped, and Tamina yelled at R-Truth and Tozawa. This was awful. I'm so tired of this. You know, it's going to go on for eternity, it seems like, the 24/7 title. Which will last longer, the 24/7 title or TNA, Impact Wrestling? Like, neither of them seem to die. They just keep on going. We had Damian Priest in a contenders match against Mr. Ziggles, Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler had control for a while. He hit a big superplex. Priest made a comeback, hit a broken arrow, but Ziggler kicked out. Bobby Roode interfered when the referee was distracted, and Priest snapped. He was so angry about being attacked that he went after Roode and got himself counted out. So yes, Ziggler will get a United States title match. I do not care about this. I have little to no interest in this. I am about 5 years past caring about Dolph Ziggler. So I have zero interest in seeing this match. They should have just done a one-off open challenge and be done with it. But even that, I would not care too much for. So, not interested. Damian Priest is an idiot. Loses his cool. Hard to cheer a babyface that cannot keep his cool. Just my opinion. Then we had Austin Theory attacking Finn Balor backstage. He went to Vince McMahon after that and said that he did get Balor back even though he lost the match. Vince said he did like the attack, but the fact of the matter is that he still lost. Austin Theory still took the L to Finn Balor, and Vince said maybe he should fire Austin Theory. He enjoys firing people, which is way too realistic of a line right there. But he said he will give Austin Theory one more chance. Next week, it will be another match because that's what WWE does. They do rematches. It will be Finn Balor versus Austin Theory again. Another bad segment here. Vince should not be on TV. He was starting to use his pencil with the eraser. It's so awful. He should not be on TV. Matt Helms says Vince does not need to be on TV anymore. Joey Perez says Vince is letter grade down. And Steve-O, going back to earlier, says Dolph Ziggler is the modern X-Pac Heat. Dolph Ziggler, it's just the way he's been booked. He's been booked so badly over the past several years. I just don't care about seeing him. I hate to say it because the guy's really talented, but I just don't care about him. Then we had Edge on, well, I guess it was his own show, The Cutting Edge, with Maurice. Earlier it was Miz TV. This was The Cutting Edge. And Maurice said that her and Edge are not friends. They're not going to be friends, but she has something she needs to get off her chest. She needs a platform to speak because The Miz would just never let her get a word in if she was on Miz TV. She said she wants to be thanked for all the work that she's done. And if something happened to her, who would take care of her kids? She asked Edge if he would ever do what The Miz tried to do with her on last week's show, using her as a shield from an attack. But Edge was not buying any of this. Edge felt that this was all a big setup. And this was low even for Miz. Edge said he would not do anything to Beth because he actually respects her. The Miz did arrive, and as expected, he tried to attack Edge, but Edge was ready for him. However, Maurice slapped him, and then Miz hit the skull-crushing finale. So even though Edge knew the attack was coming, he still got laid out. What an idiot. I mean, seriously. The guy knew what was going to happen, and he still got his ass kicked. What a dumbass. I guess Beth Phoenix comes in sooner than later, but yeah, I hope they just bring her in, get this match over with, and put Edge in the Royal Rumble, move on. I don't want to see this feud go past day one. So if they're going to do the tag match, just get it done at day one. Make it a tag match and be done with it. And Walter Cruz says Edge used Lita as a shield all the time. Well, that was Lita, not Beth Phoenix. We had Rhea Ripley versus Zelina Vega in a match. Zelina did her pre-match promo with the accent, and Booker T, she is not. They both ended up on the top rope. Rhea went for a superplex, but Zelina escaped. Zelina hit a knee to the face, but Rhea kicked out of that, and then Rhea made her comeback, hit the riptide, picked up the win. Pretty standard stuff here. You had Nikki Ash backstage watching sideways on the monitor, and that was pretty much it. And then backstage, Big E was asked if they could work together, him and Bobby Lashley, and Big E said that they will not use the filthy C word. That's when Lashley showed up and said he is going to win the title with day one, but for this night, he would be focused on Rollins and Owens. We then had Liv Morgan come to the ring for a promo. She had a kendo stick. She showed footage from the weekend. They shot this horrible angle, like a really bad segment, where Becky Lynch was training in her facility in Iowa. There were a bunch of people at ringside watching the training session, and Liv Morgan attempted to ambush Becky Lynch in Iowa. But Becky was smart heel, to know Liv Morgan would show up at her training facility. And it was actually a fake Becky Lynch in the ring. Becky got behind Liv, outsmarting her. But then they fought, and Liv kind of got the upper hand, and Becky escaped. And then Becky kept yelling at people to get Liv out of the ring. Yada, yada, yada. And then we came back into the arena. Liv Morgan was talking about how it's disgusting that Becky Lynch would be willing to sacrifice one of her students. I mean, this was ridiculous. Like, this was just absurd. Liv Morgan, her promo was so forced. It felt like a person reciting their lines. Not good at all. She said she's going to break Becky's face at day one. Becky then arrived, said Liv's luck will run out at the pay-per-view, and Liv threw the kendo stick out of the ring towards Becky and dared her to get into the ring. But Becky said that she had a private jet to catch, and she took her leave. Really bad segment. Really bad. And poor Liv, because I know a lot of people are rooting for her. She's got a grassroots fan base, but this was not it, dog. Walter Cruz with a $2 super chat says, is Lashley a tweener now? Are we supposed to cheer? It looks like it. It looks like he's at least moving towards the direction of a babyface, but we'll talk more about that here in a few moments. Steve-O says Liv should have brought the Riot Squad with her. Oh, wait. Yep, well, she's got nobody at this point, and they're trying to do something with her. Gary Joe says this was downright horrible with Liv. Sorry, but she's not going to be a believable champion with a shitty script. Sorry. Yeah, you're right about that, Gary. I'm with you on that one. And then we had our main event segment of the evening. Tag team match. Can they coexist? Bobby Lashley and the WWE Champion Big E against Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. Rollins was taken down early. Lashley was showing off his strength, but then Owens took a shot at Lashley. They got the upper hand for a while on Lashley. Crowd was chanting Bobby, so looks like the babyface turn is in effect. At least the crowd is considering Lashley to be a face at the moment. Bobby then got the hot tag to Big E. Big E got in some offense, but then the heels regained the upper hand. Lashley got tagged back in. He went for a spear, but he missed and hit his partner by mistake. Wow, what a surprise. The partners have miscommunication. Nobody could see that one coming. Big E was knocked to the outside, and then this is when things got really odd. Something got screwed up here because you had Lashley hit a spear to Owens. Right after that, 1, 2, 3. The match was over. Rollins came in, and it looked like Rollins was supposed to break up the pin, and the match wasn't supposed to end up to that point. But the referee counted 3. Rollins did not make the save in time, but the announcers were acting confused like it was a 2 count. The whole thing was a mess. And then you immediately went to, I guess, whatever the post-match angle was going to be. Rollins and Owens started beating down Lashley. They grabbed the steel steps. They used the steel steps on both guys. And then Seth Rollins hit the curb stop to Lashley, who was laid out on the steps. And then Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins shook hands. They hugged. And for the time being, they are coexisting. I guess until day 1 or probably next week when they have their falling out. Gary Joe says this main event felt flat. This just doesn't get me excited for the Fatal 4-Way whatsoever. And Joey Perez says this match will be in a future Botchamania video. Show was not good. There were a few highlights. You know, the AJ Styles Omos breakup was kind of interesting. The stuff with Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens was entertaining, but the whole ending of the match got screwed up. The post-match was good, though. So there were a few things that were decent, but man, pretty much everything else on this show was really boring, in my opinion. Just felt like your run-of-the-mill Raw. Nothing shocking or unique about the show. The same annoying camera cuts and shaky camera work that they do in every Brawl segment. Just wasn't a good show, in my opinion. Very skippable. Brytrod sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, Moose and Mid Cardona are more entertaining than Raw. Ouch. That's pretty brutal. Especially when you mention Matt Cardona being more entertaining than Raw. That's quite the burial. And Walter Cruz with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Walter. I appreciate it. Says, can the Hurt Business work as a babyface faction? Don't see many face factions, and it would be nice to see Shelton, Lashley, Cedric get pushed as faces. I like the idea. I don't think they're going to do it, but it would be a nice change of pace if Lashley's going to be a face. You got to have a heel faction, though, I think, to counteract them. Otherwise, it's kind of weird if you just have a big group of baby faces running as a pack, like they're using the numbers game or whatever. Like, it makes sense if they got to counteract some other guys. So maybe if another faction is formed and then Lashley needs some backup, bam, you get the Hurt Business reunited. So I give the show a C- because there were a few entertaining segments on the show, but overall, I thought it was pretty boring, pretty lackluster. Matt Helms gave the show a C-. Gary Joe says D-. He's looking forward to Wednesday. Looking at the poll, 18% thumbs up, 31% thumbs down, 18% thumbs middle, and 33% did not watch. Wade Kingston and Joey Perez also gave the show a C-. So yeah, probably worth skipping. And you know what? It's December. I really don't expect things to pick up much until after day one. Day one's their little experimental pay-per-view. They got Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, so that's going to sell people on the pay-per-view. I think it won't be until the Royal Rumble build-up that we'll really start to see things pick up again. And even then, I'm not sure because they'll still have some football competition. But I would suspect as we get closer to WrestleMania, the quality of the shows will pick up at least a little bit. But December, right before Christmas, can't really expect too much. So that's all I got for tonight, everybody. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And head over to my personal channel, youtube.com/AaronRift, and check out the Beatles live stream that will be coming up. And check out some cat videos as well if you haven't seen them over at youtube.com/AaronRift. You can buy this t-shirt, Just Another Monday Night, over at nodq.com/merch. Take care, everybody. Have a great week. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. All that good stuff. And I will see you all next time.